Hello there, welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I am joined by my shipmate, Ryan.
We've all made a horrible mistake. We all thought it was possible, but it was a mistake. Space is a mistake.
Space is a mistake. Not a lot of great things happen
It always seems to go wrong. Like every time they go into space, they go in with an intention and something goes wrong. Like there's always something that goes wrong.
Usually everyone perishes, whether it be by man's own hand or aliens.
Man's own elevated sense of themselves. Like in Sunshine, you know, when they go to the other ship and they're like, well, we're not going to save anyone. We're not worthy. All this sort. Maybe this is God trying to tell us that we shouldn't save the Earth and all this sort of thing. Yeah. Or like in 2001 with the robot that gets set, you know, becomes self-aware.
Hal?
Yes.
Is he a robot, though?
He's an AI, isn't he? He's an artificial intelligence.
But
Obviously.
we are not talking about AI or Sunshine. We are talking about the 2018 science fiction horror film High Life, directed by Claire Denis and starring Robert Pattison, Juliette Binoche, André Benjamin, Mia Goth, Ewen Mitchell, and there's other people, but those are the ones I listed.
Yes. Crimson Space.
Crims in Space.
Crimson Space.
So the synopsis for this film that I pulled from Letterboxd is Monty and his baby daughter are the last survivors of a damned and dangerous mission to the outer reaches of the solar system. They must now rely on each other to survive as they hurtle toward the oblivion of a black hole. Did you get that from the film?
No, not really.
Because I pulled
idea,
a sneaky on you, and I made you do a French film, and you didn't even know it.
Well, it was in English at least. It was kind of like a half and half.
French intent.
Yeah, because we know Claire Denis is French. That much we do know.
We sure do.
I don't like the use of the word hurtling, because not only that, but like the child's able to grow up in the time it takes for them to hurtle towards this black hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, maybe it's obviously quite far away. Very, very far.
Yeah, almost to the point where it's like, this is maybe something I don't really need to worry about too much.
I think they're in space for over 200 Earth years and 18 or so space years. Because space.
Because space is weird.
Yes.
Right, okay. Because there's a black hole there. Either way.
Basically, everyone on this ship are convicted criminals who traded a death sentence or prison sentence for a scientific space experiment, which is a sexual experiment, I guess, to see if they can create life in space, making babies. So the men have to give sperm samples, and then the females are the compulsory mothers. And they're all criminals. And as you can imagine, it doesn't go well.
It sounded
because
like...
it's a space movie.
On paper, I would have looked at it and been like, that doesn't sound like a fantastic idea. But effectively, they needed lambs for the slaughter. They wanted to send them into space to do these tests and these experiments, while also letting them know that they're probably not going to get back home, probably.
Because they're also trying to get to the black hole and see if they can do the old slingshot around the black hole. Is another one of that's their main goal, maybe? It's one of the space goals?
I guess. It's not that I need this film to be, like, explained to me.
I can't help you with that anyway.
No. A little bit more explanation would be fine. Yeah, no, I think from what I got, like, yeah, I mean, you quickly realize that this is a mess.
Well, anyway, the tagline for this film is Oblivion Awaits.
Okay.
Oblivion Awaits.
Why is it called High Life?
high, you're up in space.
You're up high and you're living life.
And life, they're trying to make life up there.
Wow. Sounds like a Beach Boys song.
It also sounds like a stoner comedy.
Probably
which I'm pretty
is
sure there's also a
story.
film.
I think it is probably High Life, yeah.
So Claire Denis had worked on this project for about 15 years. And originally, when she was writing the script, she had Philip Seymour Hoffman in her mind. So she's writing for Philip Seymour Hoffman. And he died, obviously.
Right, okay.
Which is very sad. But she had kind of his sensibility in mind for the character. And the next choice she had to play the main role was Vincent Gallo.
Huh.
Obviously, the producers were afraid of him. So they they weren't keen on Vincent. But Robert Pattison had kind of been not bugging the casting agent, but had been quite persistent. And Denis thought that he was too young and she wasn't really feeling him. But then I think it took so much time that he got older and it ended up working out. And there you have Robert Pattinson in the lead.
Yeah, because how many English language films do you think she's done?
This is her first.
Right, okay. Because I think Both Sides of the Blade and Stars at Noon, I think they're French as well, so...
Yeah, I don't know if she's done another one since.
Yeah. Well, as we know, Claire Denis is a French film director and screenwriter. We should probably cover this stuff just now.
Oh, right. Do you want to talk about
I think
that
so,
before I just...
I think so. Well,
bulldoze the whole thing.
You just went in there like a destroyer.
Yeah.
So she's lauded. She's regarded as one of the finest filmmakers of all time. Beau Travail is considered one of the greatest films of all time as well. An incredibly lauded movie that she made. She's had countless nominations and wins from Cannes, the César Awards, Venice, Torino, Spirit Awards, Berlin, a whole bunch of stuff. She's made shorts ever since 1969, and in terms of her filmography, I'm just going to go over it just now. We have Chocolat from 1988, which is, I think, different from the other Chocolat.
It's absolutely different from the Johnny Depp vehicle.
The chocolate movie.
The chocolate.
The chocolate movie. No Fear, No Die from 1990. I Can't Sleep from 94. US Go Home, which is kind of part of like a collection of other films from 1994 as well. Nanette and Bonnie from 96. Beau Travail, which I just mentioned, 99. Trouble Every Day, 2001, Friday Night, 2002, The Intruder from 2004, Ooh. 35 Shots of Rum from 2008, White Material, 2009, Bastards from 2013,
Nice.
Let the Sunshine In, ironically, 2017, High Life is what we're covering today, which is 2018, and the other two films that I mentioned from 2022 are Stars at Noon and Both Sides of the Blade. And I will mention as well, she's been in relatively good company over the course of her career, and I like to see that she was a first AD for Wim Wenders for Wings of Desire, and she was an AD on Paris, Texas.
I love that. I love that for her.
I mean, they're all good filmmakers.
They're all good filmmakers, and I hope good friends.
Yes.
Friendship.
Friendship is all you need.
And the one thing you don't have in this film.
What's that?
Friendship.
You don't really have a lot of friendship, no. You're starting with a lot of criminals. Well, the thing is, you start off with a baby.
You start off with a baby.
And that, to me, is two nightmares that come together, is that you are stuck with a baby.
Especially how that baby was, how that baby came to be was just rape. Tons of it.
There's a lot of fluids flying around this spaceship, that's for sure. Kind of.
I've never seen so much breast milk either.
I don't even want to talk about that right now.
I still have a trivia. I know I jumped into my trivia.
You did. I think you got way too excited, and I don't know why.
I'm excited. Yeah. Patricia Arquette and Mia Goth were the first people cast in this film, but because you didn't see Patricia Arquette, you can imagine, she dropped out.
She dropped out?
She's out.
Why did she drop out? Because of all the fluids flying around?
Too wet. She said, it's absolutely too wet for me. She did not say that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. She had a conflict, a job conflict. So Juliette Binoche came in and Andre Benjamin.
Yeah.
What a treat.
Andre Benjamin. That's not Andre 3000, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Because that's the thing. On Letterboxd, he is also just referred to as Andre 3000. Like
really?
He's not referred to as Andre Benjamin.
Pretty sure that's.
Because I remember him from Revolver, and that's not a very good movie, but he was pretty decent in that.
I could have used more of him in this film.
Yeah, he's actually very good. But the thing is like the performances, like every single one of them feels relatively quite understated. You know, this is
unless they're writing mechanical dildos or screaming and punching each other in the face.
The aptly named fuck boxes. I don't know if I was a massive fan of those things because they were also incredibly wet and had fluids like falling out of them and stuff like that. Yeah, there's stuff in this film that I like. It kind of follows in the pantheon of other art house space movies. And you're kind of like, yeah, there's certain questions I have about the logistics and the importance of this mission. Because I don't feel like it's that a lot of that stuff is very well explained. But yeah, it's such a wet ship. I do like the design of stuff. I do like the way that it's put together.
Yeah.
It feels very kind of French illustrator kind of like, you know, like Mobius. It feels like that, like from the spacesuits to the incredibly geometric kind of Cybertruck-esque spaceship designs that are all very blocky. I mean, effectively, the big spaceship is just a big rectangle.
Yes.
That's all it is. And then obviously the other little craft are just like they look like the pods from the Running Man that you get shot out of into the game when that starts. But there's a lot of stuff to like about the film. It's very kind of, I don't want to use the word understated, but it jumps around an awful lot. The narrative is not particularly clear. It's like it's very kind of jumpy back and forthy.
It's not timey-wimey, but it is a non-linear narrative for sure.
And it would make sense because they're near a black hole, they're in space, it feels disorienting, and I do think that the structure and the way that the film is put together does help to add to the confusion and the claustrophobia and the monotony, like the ennui of just the tasks and what they are doing on like a daily basis, which put in the order that they're put in here feels very weirdly dehumanizing and unnaturalistic within the environment that they're in. So there's big positives there.
I'm glad you have positives to say.
I do, yeah, I do.
Because I picked this movie.
I mean,
so you better like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's no virtual sexuality. Let's put it that way.
No.
But,
what a gem.
Yeah, there's a lot of fluids flying around in this spaceship, and
I have more discussion on the fluids. Don't worry.
Well, I wanted to bring this up, and I don't know if this is the right time to bring it up. But there's too much dead dog stuff in this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a bookend of dead dogs.
Yeah.
I don't know if Claire Denis hates dogs or if she loves dogs.
Or if she's pulling a Lucas and she's like, that's how you emotionally invest people into your stories, by killing a couple of canines.
Are not murdered. They're just not alive.
The first one in the flashback.
Some are alive.
Yeah, some are alive.
Space dogs.
We'll get to that bit in a second. But the first dog is murdered. It's drowned by the little girl.
You see it happen?
No, you assume that's what's happened.
Well, that's fine.
Because then Robert Pattison, as a young boy, rightfully so, caves her fucking head in with a rock.
And hence his prison sex box in space.
Well, that kind of seals his fate. Like, that's his story, effectively, is that he says certain lines in the movie where he's like, I wasn't raised by my parents, I was raised by my dog. And the thing is like, okay, that's cool. But then obviously it's apparent to me that the dog is a very big part of his life at that particular moment in time. So
Aren't they always?
I mean, they are. But like, if someone killed my dog, I mean, I'd be pretty incensed. Like, you'd be skinning people alive, sort of incensed. Yeah, no one's getting out of that situation the same way they went in. But yeah, then there's the other weird scene later where there's an identical ship with the number 6 on it, because they're number 7, which makes you think, because I like stuff like that, where it's like, what happened to the other 6 ships that happened before? Why has it gone so far as to be 7? Which is very ominous. I like it. I have this kind of ominous feeling about it.
Yeah.
But then they stumble upon ship number 6, which is only inhabited by dogs.
Yes.
And there's a lot of dead dogs, and there's a lot of puppies.
I don't even know what is going on. How long have those dogs been out there? How many generations of space dogs are there? Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming number 7 or any of these other kind of other numbered ships, like, they all have designated parameters that they're fulfilling. So number 7 is a human making baby ship. Number 6 was, for the dogs. I mean, I don't know, maybe 5 was for the cats, but we never saw them.
No.
And maybe 1's just full of midgets.
Really, anything is possible out there in space. And
dwarf crims.
The one thing is going to happen is pain and suffering in space.
But the one thing they did not have on the dog ship was Juliette Binoche, who basically is she's a saucy scientist, effectively. Although I thought she was also a crim.
She is a crim. Did you ever find out what her crim crime was?
She murdered her children.
She did.
Yeah, she
and then
murdered
she's
her
out
children.
here making kids.
Because Goth's actually very good in the movie as well. She asks her, she's like, how can I have any respect for you, you bitch, when you murdered your children? And she's like, did you suffocate them? And she doesn't say anything. And then she goes, I got a knife. And she like, that's all I remember.
Wow.
It's like, so she just fucking stabbed her kids, and she murdered her children. But she obviously has some kind of scientific know-how. That's why she's basically, I think she's the primary administrator of, I guess, the crew's treats, their routine. Because I mean, the monotony of their time on the ship is spent effectively dispensing fluids. Apart from Robert Pattison, who abstains from any sort of sexual activity.
Yes.
Because then they start to call him monk. But there's a very kind of weirdly spiritual element that kind of pervades the film. And I think some of that does comes from André, who's he's very much he's a big muser. He's kind of talking a little bit more sensibly, because the rest of the men, you don't get much of a good feeling from those men. They're kind of feel like they're on a sex ship, so they're going to be committing some level of sex act at
sex
some
acts
point,
and sex crimes in space.
Yeah, and they're pretty. It's kind of, to me, like it's like a pot that's just about to boil over, because the tension that you feel there, it's from the off. Because again, it's not so much timey-wimey, but like the story is told out of order. So you begin with Robert Pattison and the baby, and that's who's left. And before the title card comes up, he disposes of all the bodies that were in the cryo chambers.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
They do, like, they spoon feed you little bits of information, and I did find myself at certain points being like, oh, that's why it's like that. Or, yes, that's why this character did this, or this is what this is pertaining to. So that sort of stuff I found interesting because it, it's good writing to do things like that. You don't need it spoon fed to you, but I do feel like personally I needed a little bit more information to help kind of motivate everything that was going on here.
The cast would sometimes on set just laugh to themselves because they didn't quite know what was going on. And a few of them would have to watch the movie a couple of times. And it's more where the cast would kind of say it's whatever the audience brings to it.
I would say so. I would say so. But I also think, like, irrespective of the fact that, like, maybe we're confused, maybe Claire Denis, she knows everything. She's obviously the architect of this whole thing. And she's only allowing us to know things that she wants us to know, and then for us to interpret everything else. But I do feel like the crux of this entire story, like the through line, I wished it was a little bit stronger. Now I do get most of the film, but there are certain times where you're kind of like, because there's a level of indecision, because there's a level of like a lack of information. Like there's I needed just a little bit more, because it does pull you out a little bit, just a tiny amount, because you do feel a little bit lost. But I can understand that it's maybe deliberate.
Would you like to talk about the sex chair for a second?
If it's only for a second.
I need a couple more than 1 second.
Okay, I'll give you 5.
Well, I think I mentioned it already, but yeah, Juliette Binoche.
Okay, that's it. You had your 5 seconds.
This
that's
kind
fine.
of sex chair contraption.
Well, no, there's more than one. So there's
she
obviously
sits on. The scene I'm talking about, she's sitting on one.
Well, there's a male one and there's a female one, I think.
That's fine, but she's using the female one.
Well, of course she is.
Where it's got, kind of a metal phallus sticking out, and she just...
Has anyone ever seen Burn After Reading? That chair that George Clooney's character builds.
Yeah, except
exactly
with a metal
what it is.
kind of silvery dildo instead of a rubbery one.
Yeah, it's like the whatever it is, the Pleasure-Matic or whatever it was from Demolition Man. Like, it's basically like simulated sex, pretty much. Except in this,
no, it's
in
not.
this, it's like
it's not simulated.
No, in this, it's like you're fucking a machine, basically.
Yeah. So Denis said that the scene kind of stands to her as a rebuke to the stigma that is attributed to female sexuality. She finds it very moving. She loves that scene.
Okay.
Means a lot to her.
I mean, it looks cool. It's super, like, that sequence chain is disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a shot that you see that I'm assuming is meant to be, like, inside Juliette Binoche, and all it is just that dildo going in and out. In and out.
It's just wet, lots of sweat and hair, and the music is really intense. They had the music already made for that scene, so they played it in the background so she could kind of move to it.
Okay.
So
yeah,
prepared.
It's effective. Yeah, I mean, it's effective. It's just it's awfully disturbing.
Yeah.
It's awfully disturbing.
I have a lot of other things I want to talk about, but we can come back to it. But I thought maybe we could jump into the penis scene.
This scene.
It's an hour and 28 seconds around this part. I'm sure quite a few of you know who Ewen Mitchell is. He is in House of Dragons? House of Dragons, right? Not House of the Dragon. Not House of the Dragon.
I think it's House of Dragons.
House of Dragons.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. And also he's in Saltburn. So he's pretty popular right now, and I posted recently on the BiTTE Instagram about how he is full frontal nude in House of Dragons, and for one of the really rare times, he isn't wearing a prosthetic because HBO is so guilty of that. So I was really excited to hear that. But he is our guy in this scene. He's not a great person. Every time he walks around, you have that kind of sense of dread. Like, there's something wrong with this guy.
Yeah,
he's a criminal. They're all criminals, but that doesn't
crims,
necessarily mean you're a violent criminal. You might have just done something wrong. Even though most of the people in this that are on this ship seem to have done a violent crime.
Well, he has an air about him.
Yeah.
The way that he behaves, before this scene takes place.
He's got a villain face.
He has a bit of a villain face and a bit of a villain demeanor, like the way that he behaves. And he's also he's a little flirtatious towards the women, and they're not particularly amenable to his flirtations.
No.
So
if he isn't getting it willingly, then he's going to take it.
Yeah, and this is kind of what happens.
Well, he walks into Mia Goth's room and she's asleep. He's sniffing on her and just pulls a full attempted rape on her, but they're tied down. All the women in the room are tied down on the bed.
Yeah.
So she can't get up.
I wondered the reasoning for that, though.
There was a moment where Juliette Binoche walked by and some of the girls were douching. I think it's because they are being inseminated.
Yeah,
and
that's
Mia Goth
true.
is very against she doesn't want to have kids. She doesn't want to have any children.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
yeah,
she's tying her down so that they have a higher chance of getting pregnant.
Yep. Okay.
But
it does not work in the favor, this moment being tied down.
No, because
and they're
you're
sharing
gonna
rooms and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
because the men are walking around and this guy's doing villain stuff. But in the women's attempt to stop him and thwart him, even though they're tied down, he just starts punching people in the face.
It gets super violent.
It goes to 11 in this moment where he's just punching women in the face. Another girl walks in to try and stop him. He just absolutely beats the crap out of her.
Yeah.
And then Pattison storms in, pulls him off of Mia Goth, and destroys his face.
Pretty much beats the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And he does, he gets the shit kicked out of him, quite rightly so. But then the girl that he originally punched in the face takes a knife or a piece of mirror or something and then stabs him in the face.
Stabs him in the eye.
Yeah, stabs him right in the face. And that's probably the end of him.
He's naked, by the way.
He's completely naked like this entire time.
He's ready to do the rape.
Yeah, he's
so ready.
He's going to do it. Which is ironically, this isn't the first rape in the movie either. There's another one. But with this...
What's the other one? Is it the Binoche one?
Binoche.
It comes after.
Yeah, it comes after. It does come after.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. But yes, with this scene in particular, it's very fast. It's very frenetic. There's a lot of stuff going on. So the editing as well for the majority of the film, I think it cuts around maybe a little bit too much. But it does cut about a fair bit. So with this scene in particular, because of how frenetic it is, you're getting glimpses, you're getting flashes of this, flashes of that. You see a lot of balls.
Oh yeah.
But in terms of everything else, it's all mostly in flashes. Now you do see some stuff, but the thing is, it's not held for particularly long.
A blink and you miss it type of thing. But if you're the type of person that listens to this podcast, then you're probably in that situation going, "Oh wait, there might be a naked man here."
Yeah,
and
this is something that we can cover on the episode because we've done far worse than this. But yeah, that as scenes go, that's quite that's something.
When I saw it years ago, it stuck out to me. I always remembered that particular scene because the rest of the film is not as. There's a lot of other chaotic moments. there's a lot of wild stuff, but that scene in particular really stuck with me. I remembered that very clearly from the rest of the film.
It's memorable when a lot of the film isn't as memorable as that there.
A lot of the movie is quite
amount.
Chill, not a lot of dialogue, and just people doing things. Robert Pattinson.
I think this film is
around.
as far from chill as a film can get, though. Like, I think
It's not crazy throughout the whole film, though. The whole film isn't wild. Someone explodes. I want to talk about that later.
That's true. But yeah, no, I think there's a general air of like animosity and tension that like pervades the entire thing. So for it to feel chill, it feels chill when it's just Pattison and the baby.
I guess it starts out that way. It starts out with not a lot of drama, except that he loses that one tool, which is pretty bad because of a baby screaming.
I do like how space works in this particular regard, because for whatever reason, in this spaceship, there's gravity. For some reason or another. It's not like he drops the tool and it's just floating there in front of his face. He drops that tool and it falls down into an abyss and there's nothing else there. Same with when he disposes of the bodies.
Yeah.
They end up in space, but they're just dropping out a door to nowhere, basically. Like the air hatch. It's just a door to nothing, basically.
I'm going to go back because I wrote this quote down that Claire Denis said about the film. Which is, it's interesting. So she says that, and I quote, "The film is about sexuality, not sex. Sensuality, not pornography. Sexuality is about fluids." I'm getting back to the fluids.
Okay, good.
As soon as sexuality stirs within us, we all know it's about fluids. Blood, sperm, etc. I thought if I wanted that fluid subtext to work, we had to reduce the sex act to masturbation. I forbade myself any naked scenes. No erect cocks, no gaping pussies. We did it another way. High life speaks only of desire and of fluids. This is what she says.
Okay.
Which is interesting. It reminds
Gaping
me.
pussies.
She said, trust me, I
Erect
searched
cocks.
and searched. I'm like, are you sure that she
Gaping
said
pussies.
that?
I'm
yeah,
surprised.
but she says, I forbade myself any naked scenes. Yeah, you forbade yourself. But no, you didn't. Because there are naked scenes. There's more than one.
Yeah,
there's a sex scene.
There's
it's
plenty.
a rape scene.
It's a rape scene.
So
it's kind of like, I don't want to call it, say, mild, but like it's
there's no nudity in that rape scene, but
no, it's like a sleep creep.
But it's still rape. But,
it's still sleep creeping.
No consent given.
No.
Which, this is the part where I was going to bring
it up. And the fact
is
he was in a state of sleep that entire time, which I don't believe.
He's been they've all been drugged.
Oh.
They've all been sedated. That's why it took everyone a long time to wake up during the other.
So you think that's
situation?
what's happened to those other ladies in those videos that you see online with the sleep creepings?
I really don't know. Just like in this film.
I think they are acting. I think they have to be, because they would wake you up, like something poking and prodding you like that. Like it would just wake you up.
If you weren't drugged, yeah, that would wake you up.
Yeah, it's actually making it slightly more ominous, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I feel terrible.
Thanks for bringing that up. So, Juliette Binoche rapes Robert Pattinson's character, steals his seed, and it's so gross when she does it. And she's just
nasty.
rubbing on him and talking about how she loves his smell. There is an interesting thing that I read about Claire Denis. They spent a lot of time in Cologne, and they spent time at the European Astronaut Center.
Okay.
So when Juliette Binoche's character is talking about the smell, it reminded me of this, of what Claire Denis said about how when she met the astronauts that were going up into the space station, one of them said that the first thing that struck him about his fellow passengers was how they smelled, that they're all so close together that they're able to identify each individual person by their own smell. So,
I mean, that makes sense.
because you're just so kind of packed in together. It looks like there's a lot more space in this shoebox space thing that they have.
Yeah.
Their sex box.
The boxes. No, I think so. It's very well. That's the thing. Like it's the epitome of what a modern spaceship would be. And we've seen it countless times. Like Sunshine is exactly the same. The Martian is also exactly the same. Like spacecraft that are self-operating, like self-sufficient. So they have like gardens and they're able to reconstitute their waste and all this sort of thing. So it's not original, but yeah, it's effectively the blueprint for the modern spacecraft in cinema, I guess.
Well, after this rape, that's how Mia Goth gets pregnant, because Binoche steals it, and then while Mia Goth is sleeping sedated, pops it into her. How awful. It is the worst.
It's pretty bad.
It's so scary.
And it's what leads to probably the most horrific scene in the film, which is Mia Goth playing with her milky boobies and literally just oozing everywhere. She's
soaking wet with
breast milk.
And she's so upset. I'm unbelievably upset. Unimaginably upset. Because there's someone, sleep creep, put some semen in you, and now you're preggo in space.
Yeah.
That sucks.
They came in through your window, and they got you while you were sleeping. And that's it.
I mean, no wonder she did what she did.
Yeah. Well, no. When she exploded?
When she pulled a murder and then goes in that...
She does, yeah. She swaps out with one of the other crew members. There's a few disposable crew members. I will give it that. Like, we're talking about at least, like, the main 4, right? You got your Binoche, you got your 3000, you got your Paddy, and you also got your Goth. Like, they're the only 4 I'm interested in. The other ones, I'm like, who are they? Like, you don't really care too much. And there's another guy that ends up with fucking leukemia at some point, has a stroke.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. I think, I do think that she does a murder who was going to be the pilot who was going to fly into the black hole. I don't know who thought it was going to be a good idea.
That's the experiment, though.
They fly into the black hole, and then she just kind of ruptures from the inside out.
I looked into this, and apparently what happened to her is called spaghettification, like spaghetti.
Yes, I understand that terminology.
So if no one else knows what spaghettification is, so it's the stretching and horizontal compression of objects into long, thin shapes in a very strong, non-homogeneous gravitational field.
Huh.
So
I'm surprised that's even anything that exists. It comes from NASA, obviously.
Yes.
They're smart people.
So you're basically just being stretched in different directions on a different field. And yeah, she bleeds out of her eyes and her head explodes. And you end up your whole body just dissipates.
Wow.
You basically just pulled apart, and then you just like explode and dissipate into little bits.
Wow, that's fucking horrific.
It's really, really awful. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know, like if you liken that stuff to like decompression and things. Like if you go too far down and the pressure mounts too high and then it just crushes you. That's fucking.
It's really bad.
Fucking horrible.
Yeah.
It's not as horrible as the milky boobies scene.
No, that's the worst part for you.
That is the worst part, and it's not because of the breast milk. It's because of how she feels.
Because she's really upset and sad.
Of course, she's really upset. I'd be fucking upset and sad, and like, I couldn't stop my boobs from oozing. No,
there's special bras that pregnant women wear.
Well, she wasn't wearing it. They didn't have them in space. Either way, come on. That's not nice.
No.
Give it a paper towel or something. You know what I mean? Like, just help her out.
Well, they tried to help and then she punched them, so.
I mean, I would as well.
She's very violent.
Oh, yeah, she's a criminal. You know, let's not forget, these were fucking criminals. They probably deserved everything they got.
Stop. No. I don't know. After Mia Goth explodes, I didn't write a single other thing down. So
I did write down that the child was praying to Flower of Scotland.
you liked that, huh?
I like that. It's because for obvious reasons. Yeah, we don't need to explain it.
Before we wrap it up, I have other notes that we kind of. Gosh, you know what? We're really doing it like the movie. We're a little timey-wimey. We're a little jumping over here, jumping over there.
Well, we don't need
We're
to tell
trying to
everybody
keep No, we're trying to keep to the theme. I like it.
Yeah.
We did it on purpose. So.
Oh, that's right. We did.
We totally did it on purpose.
Yeah, we did do it.
Claire Denis wrote the script in English because the story obviously takes place in space, and she figured people speak English or Russian or Chinese, but not French in space. Hence,
no one speaks French in space.
Hence her first English language film. Well, when she was at the European Astronaut Center, she met a Scots astronaut who spoke English but spoke American English, because I guess that's kind of the space standard.
I think, yeah, there has to be certain standards in space. So I think good for him. Good for him to, you know, keep that accent just under the belt, you know, like make sure that they think that he's American when he's not, when he's just like Scotland the Brave. Yeah.
Okay.
He knows what he's doing.
The baby in the beginning of the film is played by Scarlett Lindsay, who happens to be Robert Pattinson's goddaughter.
Okay. Yeah, because the relationship between him and the child is very convincing all the way throughout.
The baby is the best.
The baby is the best.
Which is crazy.
Those scenes are very good with the baby.
Apparently one of his best friends, he had a baby, and he remembered he was having a lot of trouble kind of connecting with the other babies. The other babies weren't working for him. And he goes, my friend has a baby. Let me check out this baby. Because he remembers when the baby was born, you know, everyone's passing the baby around. Everyone's touching the baby, and the baby didn't care. Very chill kid, super open to everybody, and ended up working out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's what you need.
You need a
personable
baby.
You don't see a lot of like child, like baby personalities in films that much anymore. You know, you had your three men and a baby. Like, there's that, obviously. You need a baby in that movie.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, there's
5-star film.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just three men speaking to something that's not there. And then obviously Ghostbusters 2.
That was a very personable baby.
Very personal. And that was twins.
Yeah.
As well. It's played by twins.
Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Also twin babies with personalities. Not in film.
Well, I don't care about that. They're the only two that I know. Those two movies. Baby movies.
The baby from American Sniper. That's a joke comment.
Oh, okay.
Because that was not a real baby.
Okay. What was that?
That was a fake baby.
I don't know what that means though. There's a fake baby.
You don't know about the American Sniper fake baby?
I've seen that movie, but the fake baby?
Yeah. I'll show you later.
Right. Okay.
It's really weird.
So I only saw the movie once and I hated it.
I remember that the one. Oh yeah, that movie's awful. But I remember seeing that baby and I go, ooh, just cover it up. It's just a doll.
Oh, right. Oh, is that bad? Right, okay.
Right.
Okay, I see.
Yorick Lasso shot the film and also happened to be the cinematographer on A Bigger Splash. I like to find connections.
Okay.
I like to find connections and
good job.
People that work in penis films.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of connections, I feel.
Great, thank you for that. Did you have any other connections? No, you didn't. I did. I have the connections, and I did the research. I win. It's not a game.
I mean, you picked this movie, so you better have those connections. You better have this. You better have this served up.
Geez Louise, the only other thing I wrote down is that Robert Pattinson sings the song, appropriately called Willow, because that is the name of the child in the film, that plays during the end credits.
Yeah, there you go.
He sings that song.
Yeah, would never have known unless you told me. So
that's what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for.
Doing the work.
Let's wrap it up.
I'm going to go first just because I felt like it and I jumped in.
Yeah, plus I also want you to be my barometer because I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with this one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For visibility and context of the penis scene, I gave this a 1. It's there and it's appropriately there. It's dark because the lights are off and it's like you said, Ryan, it cuts and cuts and cuts and cuts because it's a really hectic, frantic, wild scene. People are getting punched. There's blood everywhere. People are tied up, and it's total chaos.
Yeah,
the frequent cutting makes sense just because it does help bring that tension higher and higher and higher because it is really a wild moment in the film, but.
Yeah.
There are a lot of moments where there could have been more, but the fact that Claire Denis goes, I didn't do any nude scenes in this film, and there are some. Obviously, she's not going to go overboard by having him lay on the ground covered in blood with his eye out on his back.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I
get it.
Yeah, I would agree with your rating. I would also give it a 1. I agree with it for all of those other things. But then I'm kind of just like, you're like, maybe there should have been more. And I'm like, you know what? When it comes down to these moments of rape in films and stuff, I'm glad we're not seeing too much, to be fair. I think you see enough.
You're probably right, considering the context of this moment and of the film.
As scenes go, though, like, this one's not as gratuitous as others. I feel like we're maybe a little bit desensitized with some of the things that we watch in general.
Maybe I'm wanting more just because I always want to see more. But
yeah,
but you're right. Maybe I need to rethink. I need to rethink this.
Like, what would a layman think if they saw this? It'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to see, like what Denis said, you know, she didn't want erect cocks, she didn't want gaping holes, you know, she just wanted to, you know, keep it on a level, you know, of decency, because that's obviously what I mean, the fact that a woman of her age, of her career standard, is saying things like that in an interview for anything, I think is fan-fucking-tastic.
That's true. So maybe if you were to separate these two, visibility 1, context like 4, you know?
I'm still gonna give it, because we pair them together, we don't kind of separate them too much. I still think it ends up being a 1, because I don't want to see a dick going into the vagina.
No, of course not. But
like
when
raping.
when he's pulled off of her and he's getting the crap beat out of him, yeah, I could stand for a little bit of full frontal nudity when you're getting the shit beat out of you and you're a rapist.
Yeah.
And get kicked in the junk.
I guess, like...
That doesn't happen, but...
I think the fact that, like, you have a moment like that and then it's kind of pervaded by a lot of gratuitous, like, full frontal male nudity and stuff like that. I don't know how that kind of feels as that continues on. Yeah, I think maybe the moment could be more fucked up. Like, that's fine, but... From another standpoint, like, I understand that we don't need to go that far with it. So,
well, in terms of a balance, there is a tilted shift towards female nudity. There's quite a bit more female nudity in this film.
Yeah, but it's there's no male gaze or anything on this. I mean, that scene with Mia Goth, like, I don't ever want to see that again. Like, that's...
Yeah, both of those scenes with the one with Juliette Binoche riding the tiger and then the Mia Goth milk scene.
Oh, because they're it's not sexy. You're not watching it like, oh, look at her go. Like, it's not that. Like, it's kind of...
The way her hair went in that
sad.
scene with Juliette Binoche, it is sad. And the way her hair is kind of sweatily draped on her back.
Well, it's very
looks
long.
Like
her hair's very long.
I mean, this movie is a horror movie, but that's classic horror movie. It's like The Ring. It's very creepy. You know, when it's like all on her back. Anyway.
Yeah, when that bitch is coming out of the TV.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. Those nails that come off.
Okay. Yes. So the film itself, I gave a 3.5. Letterboxd, I wasn't able to look ahead of time to see what I rated it the first time.
You gave it 3.5.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I feel the same way.
Because I was at least able to see that. Their servers must be down at the time of this recording. No, you gave it
Still
3.5, and it looks like you're giving it 3.5.
I'm sticking true to my OG opinion that I like this movie, and it's not very long. It is an hour and 50 minutes about, and I like that. It's fine.
Yeah, the film's not boring. I would say it's slow in parts, and I do feel like there's a thirst I have for information. Certainly when I feel like the general concept of it's quite strong, I just wanted more from it. But I did give it a 3. It's slightly better than average. Yeah, I just wanted a little bit more. But I feel like it's like as a piece, like it's doing what it wants to do. But yeah, I feel like I just wanted a little bit. I wanted a little bit more.
I did not feel the time, you know. I love an hour and a half, 96 minutes. Beautiful. This runs over that. But I didn't feel that at all. I mean, it whipped by. It
doesn't feel long, but I think it's because it's interesting. I don't know how it would fare from a second viewing, but yeah.
Hey, I stayed true.
You did, but you'd seen it a wee while ago. I hadn't really seen it before. No. And I like a kind of art house space movie, you know.
Absolutely.
It's like one of my favorite things. But yeah, I think I wanted something more from it, and I think it has there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. It's just, I just wanted a little bit more explanation. But it's not a bad movie at all, so.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, gee whiz, do you have anything else you want to add before we jet back off into space?
No, I think we need to we can't go back into space.
Before we land the ship?
Well, missions like this always seem like a bad idea. I don't know why they continue to do it. Like, they need to just stay on the ground.
Don't go to space.
Don't explore.
No, just stay home.
Just stay at home. Yeah.
Stay home, watch movies. Who needs to see what's out there?
Exactly.
I don't need to see anything. Well, thank you all for listening to our episode on High Life. Remember, if you are online and you feel like rating the podcast, rate it high. Why would you rate it low if you're still listening? That'd be super weird.
Yeah, 5 stars only.
Yeah, that's right. If you can give 10, do that, because it helps us and we appreciate it. And you can find us on all the social media, which is on the BiTTE, BiTTE. Anywhere. I mean, we're on all the things.
Yeah,
so.
Anything helps us. We just spread us around a little bit. If you like us, maybe have a friend that'll like us. Because we're pretty amusing. Or at least Laura's nice.
I am very nice.
Yeah, I'll tolerate you.
And that's all we ever could want from you.
And that's all you're going to get.
Appreciate that. Well, thanks again, everybody. We will see you again in a couple of weeks. Coming to you from that fuck box in space.
From spaceship number 7.
Number 7, I've been Laura.
Mia Goth's milky boobies. Oh, dear.
God. Yeah. Shut it down.